All right, the right fits. We are back here. It's been a while since I've been back with my brothers over here on this network, and brothers can mean females and males, and anywhere in between. You know what I mean? Know what I mean? So don't think brothers just means guys, and guys doesn't necessarily just mean guys. But I won't get on that now. All right, what are we talking about today? This episode of The Right Fits, we got some crazy content headed your way. Just haven't really figured out how I want to dive down into the intricacies of all of this shit. But I'm just gonna go in right now as I see it. Okay, so let's start out with what's going on with our best friends in the world, Netanyahu and his crazy ass government. Crazy fucking government, right? The Israelis. So things aren't going well for them. Turns out they're let's say conscript army with doughy boys who are not in shape and who just come out of college and have done very little actual training to be in these positions. They're say not they're not meant to take over Hamas. Now, you actually if you just compare this to us with Iraq or Afghanistan, right? There's no way we'll ever win any of those wars. You can even go back. You can look at Vietnam. We thought, I mean, this is right after, except for Korea, this was literally the next war that was like, we're the ones with atomic bombs. We can do whatever the fuck we want. And this was Vietnam, nowhere close to us. Like, Israel can't use atomic bombs, right? Because they're fighting people close to them. If you use atomic bombs close to you, you get hit with the, the byproducts, right? But no, we didn't even do that in Vietnam. Nope. No. It's just crazy the different approaches. And now we bring it back to what we're looking at today. I have to say this at the start, all right? So I've been listening to a lot of Jewish opinion on this, and I've been listening to a lot of Israeli opinion on this. And what the Israelis like to do is make Israeli and Jewish mean the same thing. So if you call the Israelis a bad thing, therefore it's anti-Jewish. That's why they're like equating the two. But one's a government, right? One's a religion. Two different things. Well, it hasn't gone over well, especially with the American people. Now we have the number one spending super PAC in the U.S. is APAC, the Israeli, get you to love Zionism pact or whatever it is. I don't know. They pump that stuff out very effectively and are very well financed. That's, I think, the number one financed one in America, actually. But so just thinking about where we're going with this stuff in the Middle East. Israelis will not quit. They are crazy people, as I can see now. They are crazy people, and that's not. I'm not saying that about Jews, right? I'm saying that about Israelis or any other person. I don't care if you're Jewish. If you just support what they're doing and don't think they need to change anything what they're doing, I think that's not a good moral standing. But the Nazis didn't stand for good moral standings when they were around, and they were the normal of their day, so, who knows how this point will be looked back at. And you'd think the South Africans who are bringing this, international criminal court case against these guys, you might think they know something a little bit about apartheid, but I don't think they do. what do South Africans know about apartheid? They're idiots just like, yeah, they're idiots more than we are. That's a shithole country, right? That's a joke. But, all right, let's move away from the Middle East right now. Let's go into Ukraine, because Ukraine has had some just crazy developments, not in as far as what's actually happened on the ground, because I don't know how many Western people actually need to hear to the truth, because any intelligent Western person and most Eastern people know this to be the truth. Russia's won what they're gonna do, right? Putin's just a nice enough guy to not just go blitzkrieg on them, right, and destroy more cities for no reason. He's not going to do that. He has no point to. Those are his people in his eyes. He's not seeking the new Soviet Union, which I have heard that my whole life. My brother used to always say that. Kevin, don't you think Putin's trying to get back the Soviet Union? I'm like, no, why? I just could never understand that. And that's the whole reason why NATO needs to be gone. Okay, when in 1990 or 1991, I always forget the fucking date, George W. Bush, right? Or George Bush, the senior, the first one, right? He has said, no more, it's done. We're done with Cold War's over. Made an agreement with Yeltsin to essentially strip Gorbachev of power. This got executed, and this is what happened. And this is when the Cold War ended, and Gorbachev had some assumptions of how NATO would go about. And I don't know if this was to Yeltsin or Gorbachev, I forget, but Bush, or the state secretary of state or whatever, secretary of war, I forget, said, yes, we promise you we won't move an inch to the right in Berlin, right? Because that was split at the time. Berlin was split in half. Going back up to our time, they've made us look like idiots, or we've made them look like idiots, the Russians. Okay? Essentially, Russia even said, let us join NATO. And then we go, no, you can't join NATO. Right when we did that, actually, Bill Clinton goes, yeah, sure, whatever. You know how he is. And he's a very friendly guy. I'm sure he'd be like, that's a great idea. Because in these guys' minds, it is a great idea. I even heard Trump say, the greatest thing I could do as president is get rid of all nukes on Earth. And you could almost tell in his mind, he was thinking, wait a second, my government wouldn't let me get rid of our nukes. I can't do that. That's like, in their mind, it's anti-American. It's fucked up. And that's why our democracy is failing, to be honest. But you just go back to this thing with Gorbachev and, George Bush and, right, we lied. The dissolution of NATO would occur. Or we wouldn't stop going over towards you guys. Russia's capitalism now. They're not the Soviet Union, right? There's no reason for NATO. And I've literally never, my brother, who's a very smart guy, I've asked him this, what's the point to NATO now? And he acts like it's self-evident, the point to NATO. Like, why would you even ask the question, what's the point to NATO? It's like, well, no, it was for fighting the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union doesn't exist. And what's self-evident in neocons' minds or neoliberals' minds is that Putin has always been, I don't know, Khrushchev or whatever. So he's not willing to let this thing fall apart. So obviously we have someone to be at forever war with, another forever war. So we'll end here with Ukraine because Russia has completely won up that war. They can decide whatever they want. We can ship whatever we want there now. We're just killing Ukrainians because we're forcing them to fight. They need to come up with a deal, which could have happened 2 years ago, but we denied it. Americans have killed other people abroad by doing that. Just so I don't exculpate us from what our transgressions are, and the more we think we're impervious to international law, the more we do immoral things to the rest of the world. And that's so obvious to the rest of the world. It's not at all obvious to us. We think that's what makes us amazing, that only the rules that we choose apply to us. Well, let's take this back to more of an actually grand view of what's going on with what's going on with American foreign policy right now, and it's not good. You know what I mean? And what's going on with the race in the U.S. for the election, it's not good either. You know, it's Biden and it's Trump, but Trump has a huge lead on almost all the polls and everything. He has Biden doesn't look like he can talk, and Trump has he's much more liked at this point than he was in 2016 when he won. And just taking me as an example, who really didn't like him back then, I remember asking a professor that I knew. I was like, so what's the similarities that you see between, this is before he was elected the first time, but I said, what are the similarities you see between Trump and Hitler, or the Trump team and the Hitler team? And he goes, not much between Trump and Hitler, but more so between Trump's cabinet and Hitler. And I got what he was saying, and that was a good response. But either way, now I am so much more for Trump. He's not that he's gotten more funny. He might have actually gotten more funny because he's really honed his craft. But now he is hilarious. But besides that, he really knows what he's doing. I don't think he's a threat to democracy at all. I see the way our government has gone after him for what he's done. And you know what that means? He's willing to buck where they say nut. Like, Trump, no president is going to defend, and this is the God's honest truth, right? In an interview, he defended, like, attacks about how Putin has killers and stuff, and other countries have killers, and he goes, what, you don't think we have killers? And just as a logical thing, right, from Trump, this is a logical thing from what he said. We're the world's empire. We're the world's superpower right now. We're the only one. We're the world's superpower. Duh, we got the most killers. Duh, the CIA is a anti-democratic machine. It does not do anything with democracy. It does not. It's the opposite of democracy because it's completely secret, meaning we don't know what's going on in our government. So it's anti-democratic right there. Number two, everything they do is illegal in every country they go to, by definition. It's just that the American law says that, well, we're going to give you a pass because you're a CIA agent. But still, when you go over there, it's still all illegal, and international law still deems it illegal. And with the CIA, they overthrow, and I'm not just going to say democratically elected governments. They love doing that, especially in Latin and Central, anywhere in Latin America, but yeah, especially Latin America, South and Central America. You really got to look that up if you guys don't know about our, banana. Or look up how we got. Oh God, definitely look up how we got Hawaii, because that's not a positive story that some Americans might have been taught. But no, man, it's crazy. So what's going on in Ukraine now is that they have completely lost the war. Ukraine does not have the ability, no matter how much weapons we send now, they don't have the ability to do it because they don't have the people to do it, because they don't. They're sending kids and 60-year-old cripples to the front line. It's unbelievable. So theirs over. They're going to have to eventually, and they would have already sued for peace if it wasn't for our dumbasses, because we forced Boris Johnson from, I hope you know where they're from, right? The UK. Send him over there. That's how fucking influential we are. We can just tell Boris Johnson, the ex-prime minister of the UK, to go do something for us, like a lapdog. So that's the power we have right now, right? But Western power has failed lately, and we're seeing this very strongly with how the sanctions against Russia held up. Their economy is doing much better now than it was before the war, and the reason why is the American bet was, well, we'll sanction them, and then we'll imagine that our demand for the supply of what you got is larger than what you can find abroad, so therefore we can hurt your economy. And they go, bet, right? And then they go to China, India, Egypt, you know what I mean? And just China and India right there, just them is half the people in the world, right? So, and they're working with Russia. They don't look at Russia as a crazy state for invading its neighbor when NATO has been jumping closer and closer to its border. That's just a fact. I don't care if you're American or Russian. That's just a fact of how it's going. They don't care, especially after we call out Putin for being a war criminal when we're in Iraq to this day, and we just pulled out of Afghanistan and no one got held account of anything there. So it's just this all has to point out to you, right? It comes full circle, and it brings it back to the last thing I want to talk about, which is what the implications are in the American economy, right? When we're looking at these two wars, right? I should say this, the Israelis overwhelmingly are crazy people. And that's not anti-Semitic. Believe me, that is not anti-Semitic. Overwhelmingly, they're for sure crazy people. Or at least morally, you know, in how they view their neighbors. I'm sure Palestinians don't love them either. You know what I mean? So I don't want to act like it's a one-way street, but we just got to talk about this last thing, though, okay? What is happening back at home? We got Trump and we got Biden, and you just got to think what is going to happen. And I already know what's going to happen. And you know why I already know? Because I'm so much more sure about this election than I have about any of the other ones in the past. Oh, let me think. Since at least Obama, I was pretty sure he'd win against... Was McCain the first one he ran against? I don't even remember. McCain, though, I was questionable if he was going to win, you know? I think Romney was second, but I might be mixing those up, but shit. Nah, I'm just saying, what's happening at home is an extreme consolidation of our economy. Our economy has become a monopolization. It's not okay. It's not a free market economy. I have to say that. And I hope when I say laissez-faire capitalism, that's what I mean, right? A laissez-faire. Adam, what's the dude's name who created capitalism? That retard, Adam Smith or whatever. That dictard who like lived off his mom or something. But this motherfucker created the free market system, which we do not even compare to. We do not have free market capitalism now. We do not worship democracy in America. Let me tell you that. Our elites worship capitalism, not democracy in America. They could care less about democracy. And they don't. The way we saw Bernie getting screwed out of one against Hillary, one against Biden. He got screwed out of both of those. So obviously he got cheated so easily. More people, he would have beat Trump the first time, definitely. Like, I don't even want to get into it. Just because Bernie's kind of pissed me off a little bit lately, but it's just frustrating. We have consistently been producing less and less in America, allowing the giant companies who make revenue in America to ship their shit abroad now in America. So now the companies that even are American can ship their shit abroad to get it made there. And we're the ones who make intellectual property and computer programs, entertainment. We don't make shit. We don't make any real things, right? Even the DVDs that used to be sold as DVDs are now just streaming content. So you just plug something and password into a TV. And this is not good. Not good for our, oh my God, it's so not good for our economy. What it's leading to is just this spiral, again, of we see these, the mono or the polymonopolization of many sectors is automatically conglomerating all these companies. And now what you see is stock buybacks are the main way to make... Okay, let me just explain this. Stock, if you don't know what stock buybacks, I'll explain it. So when a company has surplus, right, extra money, they can choose to buy their own stock. Why would they want to do that? Because their stock price jumps, right? More people buy it, their stock price jumps. And so that's one of the things they can do now. I think it was illegal. I don't know why it wasn't always, but it's legal now, and they do this. And now, here's the thing. You might go, why is that bad, Kevin? They're just making their profits go up, so when they sell the stock, they'll make more. Yeah, but these things we're talking about with economy actually means it reflects a real world thing, right? And so when you stock buyback, you're spending your own money. It's a form of like insider trading. You're just trading with yourself to just pump up the stock price. It will, like, all you have to do is buy and it pumps up the stock price because it's yours. It's really, there's no net, there could be no loss from that, really. And it should be illegal. It should be illegal. But they're not making anything more. Right? They're not right, you got production and you got consumption. You got supply and demand. Right? Supply and demand. So if they're not supplying anymore, if they're just like usually you'd have to supply more in a more efficient way. That's how you boost your stock price, right? Instead they say, "Oh, we'll artificially stop it." That is inflation. That is the definition of inflation. You're creating money out of nowhere. Yeah, I hope that's the clearest example that I've been able to see of how you directly create only inflation from the stock market. Stock buybacks, because it doesn't actually give the entrepreneur any more selection, the buyer any more selection. Alright, these are just some diatribes I had to go into today. The Right Fits, please subscribe. You guys, I know I haven't came on in a while, but shoot me some messages. I'll try to get back with you guys better than I have been. Alright, peace.